Back on Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. Need to know things are coming up in this next half hour, plus our contest. I'll have your chance to win the family 4-pack of tickets to Generations at McCarter Theater Center. It's a brand new production with American Repertory Ballet. It is tomorrow night, and you'll have a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets coming up sometime between now and 8 o'clock. Want to get to my special guest on the Jersey Central Newsmaker Hotline. And, just because now that spring weather is finally, starting to get here, it means we're okay. We're safe from germs and viruses that are indoors and have been making people sick all winter. Well, not exactly. My guest who is standing by is the owner of a company called Sterile Space Infection Defense. And maybe you saw them featured in the most recent publication of ROI&J. The owner, Irwin Stromeyer, is with me here this morning on WCTC. Irwin, good morning. Thanks for taking the time to talk today.
My pleasure, Bert. How you doing?
I'm good. It must be very difficult to sell some people into a concept of something that they can't see for themselves. I mean, if your job is to fix a leaky roof, people can see water leaking through into their attic and whatnot. But for what you do, and this is something that everybody deals with at home, every workspace, eradicating germs and just trying to create a healthy environment, it's kind of difficult to get that point across to people as to how important it is sometimes, Irwin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, people become aware of the germs around them when they usually get sick from them or somebody they know gets sick from them. And unfortunately, nowadays, there are a lot of other germs out there that are now called superbugs that, over-the-counter products, even prescription brand products, can't fight.
So like any other organism, they evolve over time and become just more durable, I guess, and resistant to anything that's out there that's been kind of eradicating them for years. Now they're getting tougher and lasting longer, right?
Absolutely, because what they've done is they've adapted. Their so-called immune systems have adapted to things like the various forms of penicillin and other super drugs that we have, which nowadays are like shooting spitballs at a tank. They don't have the ability to fight these infections because the infections have adapted beyond the capability of those drugs.
That's a great analogy, by the way. I may steal that at some point and use that for something else, but yeah, I guess that's kind of what the battle is, too. You want to be able to create as nice and healthy environment as possible that you can, whether it's a classroom, a business, any place where there's public people. You think about restaurants and hospitals, which, of course, are always kind of fighting this. But it's a never-ending battle. It's a 12-month-a-year battle now, isn't it, Irwin?
It's 12 months a year, 24 hours a day, because like you said, it's something that you really can't see. And when you try to explain to people what's going on around them, most of them are unfortunately naive because a lot of this isn't really covered in the detail that the public needs to know when it's put on television or radio or in the news. I mean, there's a lot of really good articles and interviews and stuff like that, but for some reason people are so busy in their lives that they're just not getting the information, and they're not seeing the necessity for a service like ours, which does terminal disinfection and then protects surfaces with a specialized antimicrobial coating that kills the vast majority of infected cells when they land upon the coating. It's kind of like coating a surface with electrified spikes, so that if you were to fall on them, you'd become impaled, probably hemorrhage, and at the very least you'd be electrocuted. But either way, you're dead. So the coating that we use does exactly that. And the nice thing is that it lasts on surfaces for at least a year. Numerous clients of mine in the child care center field love the program that we put out. It's called the Healthy Child Zone program. And they say that they have seen a significant decrease in the number of sick staff and sick students in their schools since we've been doing this, and some of them have been renewing with us every year for the last 4 years.
Very cool, because I'm sure all it takes, Irwin, is one sick kid to show up at a daycare, a preschool, or something, and just touch something and share it with another kid, and the next thing you know, it's spreading like wildfire across everybody, right?
You hit the nail nail squarely on the head. That's exactly what it is. And unfortunately, oftentimes children are dropped at school and the parents don't know they're sick yet because the illness hasn't finished going through its gestation period to become visible to other people. And therefore, a lot of kids wind up in school with the parents not knowing they're sick, or because of the world we live in today where both parents usually have to work long hours just to keep food on the table, a lot of times parents bring their kids to school even though they know they might be sick or they are sick because they have to work to feed the family.
Yeah, exactly. And, of course, we've seen it. What's the first thing a sick kid does when you give them a toy, right? They put it in their mouth and hand it to another kid, right? So
either that or they drool or sneeze all over it.
Of course.
There you go.
Next thing you know, right? Exactly. That's how it spreads. Irwin Stromeyer is my guest. He's the owner. Sterile Space Infection Defense. They're based in Jersey and just trying to create healthy places, whether it's schools, hospitals, restaurants. Your home, Irwin, you get a lot of calls for people. You go to their home and try to make that as healthy, too, as possible?
I try to market into private residences.
Okay.
Some people get it. A lot of people just, it's beyond them for some reason, or they're just thinking about other things that it's like last on the list.
Until somebody gets sick and like, wow, if that guy was here, we might not be going through this right now.
Exactly.
Is it a weather or a seasonal dependent thing, Irwin? Sometimes, we had a really bad winter, so that means, a lot more people are going to be sick because of the contamination of people indoors. Is it a weather dependent thing or what you do, but or is it seasonal?
The colder weather doesn't help because when people are corralled inside, whether they be adults or little children in school, the closer proximity and greater amount of time in that closer proximity to sick people or things that have been contaminated means that you have a higher probability of touching things that have been contaminated and then infecting yourself. But this does go on year-round. Of course, during the warmer months when people are outside and not in such tight quarters and surfaces aren't quite as heavily contaminated during better weather, yes, you don't seem to see as much illness during the warmer months. But cross-contamination infection, which is what we treat, happens year-round. As a matter of fact, there was a study done, I believe it was by the University of Auburn, where they wanted to see how fast infectious microbes spread. And what they did was they took something called a tracer virus. It won't make you sick. It's basically for testing purposes. And they coated it on the entry door handles to a multi-story commercial building. They tested that building 4 hours later and found the tracer virus on every floor, in every bathroom, in every rented space.
4 hours is all it took.
That's all it took. And,
wow.
I mean, when you think about other things that happen, like somebody flies in to the U.S. for a vacation from another country and they didn't know they were sick, they get here, they've probably infected people on the plane, they've probably infected people in the airport, they probably will infect the next person who uses the cab they used, and it so forth and so on. So that's why it's so important to look at a better program of infection control. A lot of people think, especially in the schools and child care centers, that if they clean with a good detergent and they use bleaching water as a disinfectant or some other commercial disinfectant, that they've done everything that can be done. And unfortunately, what most people don't understand is as soon as a disinfectant dries, or if you want to say evaporates, its killing ability is completely gone. The surface may be visibly clean and disinfected, all right, but the first person to walk by and touch it or sneeze on it or cough on it, the contamination starts all over again. That's why surfaces need to be able to, in essence, protect themselves. And when we put this coating on surfaces and on objects, which bonds to those surfaces with a covalent or molecular bond, makes it so that it won't wash off with any commercial cleaner. Therefore, the surface is continually has a higher degree of protection against it than a surface that isn't coated. And the nice thing is that the coating lasts at least a year. Wow.
Excellent. Good stuff. Irwin, how can someone get some more information about Sterile Space? Where do they go?
Well, they can go to our website at www.sterilespace.com, or they can call us at 973-714-8288, or they can email me at Irwin, IRWIN, at sterilespace.com.
All right, good information, and congratulations. That was a great write-up, too, in ROINJ. I thought they did a nice job of talking about what you offer there and how important and how critical it is to keeping Jersey healthy. That's what it's all about. So, Irwin, thank you for the time. Continued success. Great speaking with you and some good information today, okay?
Thank you, Burton. To you, too.
All right, thank you. All right, Irwin Stromeyer, my guest on WCTC. And again, Sterile Space right